Hi students, hope you're all safe at home. Hope you're all hale and healthy. We are going to continue with the third chapter in your chemistry part, that is solutions. We have discussed about half of the chapter earlier as a PowerPoint presentation. It was about the different types of solutions, the classification of solutions we have finished discussing. Now we are going to continue with that. See, when we are discussing about the classification of solutions, we discussed if, for example, a small amount of sugar, a spoon of sugar is dissolved in water, it dissolves. More and more quantities of sugar is dissolved in the same quantity of water, it keeps on dissolving to a particular extent. Beyond that, it will stop dissolving, it won't dissolve. Okay, so after that, when you add, it will remain at the bottom, it will not dissolve. So the solution which is obtained when you added little quantity of sugar in water is unsaturated solution, that is, it is able to dissolve more quantities of sugar. When the solution which is obtained with the maximum quantity, soluble quantity of the solute, maximum soluble quantity of the sugar is your saturated solution. Okay, that quantity of sugar which can be dissolved up to a maximum extent by a preferred, a specified quantity of a solvent is called its solubility. So we are going to discuss with the solubility. What is it? It is the extent of dissolution of solute in a solvent. We are taking 100 gram of water. Solute is sugar. We are dissolving. Extent of dissolution means maximum quantity of solute that is dissolved in 100 gram of water. So that is its solubility. So it is a measure of how much of a solute can be dissolved in a specified quantity of a solvent at a temperature. You are not going to increase or decrease the temperature. At a particular temperature, how much quantity of a solute can be dissolved in a specified amount of solvent is called its solubility. So the definition for solubility is, it can be asked in 2 marks. Solubility is defined as the number of grams of a solute to form its saturated solution at a given temperature. Saturated, not saturate, B will come, saturated solution at a given temperature and pressure. So at a particular temperature and pressure, how much grams of the solute can be maximum dissolved in a particular specific quantity of the solvent is called solubility. Example, 36 gram of sodium chloride, NaCl is sodium chloride, can be dissolved in 100 gram of water. It won't dissolve more, 0.5 gram, 36.5 gram of NaCl cannot be dissolved. Maximum 36 gram of NaCl can be dissolved in 100 gram of solvent to make a saturated solution at a particular temperature, that is 25 degrees Celsius. The formula for solubility is mass of the solute by mass of the solvent into 100. Mass of the solute in grams by mass of the solvent in grams into 100. That is the solubility. So for example, certain solutes are given here. Its solubility. Calcium carbonate, its formula is CaCO3. So 0.0013 gram of calcium carbonate only can be dissolved in 100 gram of water. Sodium chloride we have discussed now only, 36 gram can be dissolved in 100 gram of water. Ammonia 48 gram can be dissolved in 100 gram of water. So that value is constant for a particular solute. The value of solubility is a constant. Sodium hydroxide 80 gram can be dissolved in same 100 gram of water. Okay. So what are the factors that affect solubility? Factors affecting solubility. So there are 3 main factors that affect solubility. They are nature of the solute and solvent, temperature and pressure. So first we are going to discuss about nature of the solute and solvent. The nature of the solute and solvent, in the sense, see, we already, whenever the term solvent comes, The solvent which comes in your mind is water. Water, we think that water will dissolve all compounds. It's not that. But it dissolves most of the compounds, so it is termed as a universal solvent. But it don't dissolve all the compounds present in the universe. There is a term for explaining the solubility of a solute in a solvent. Which solute can be dissolved in which particular solvent. Like dissolves like. That is, there will be some similar features between the solute and solvent. Then only if the similarities exist, then only the solute can be dissolved in a solvent. For example, we have polar compounds and non-polar compound. Polar compound in the sense it's a solute, but it has charged particle, charged groups. Non-polar means they don't have charged group. The charged group in the sense a positive ion and a negative ion will be present in polar compound. Example, sodium chloride, Na plus Cl minus will be present. Non-polar compound, it does not have a charged group. Fats are examples. Many organic compounds are examples for non-polar compounds. See, polar compounds can dissolve only in polar solvents. Example for a polar solvent is water. Water is an example for a polar solvent. So when polar compound is dissolved in polar solvent, it dissolves. When non-polar compound is mixed with non-polar solvent like ether, alcohol, carbon tetrachloride, etc., then it dissolves. But vice versa, when a polar compound dissolved in non-polar solvent or a non-polar compound mixed with a polar solvent, it does not dissolve. Non-polar compound, polar solvent does not dissolve. Polar compound, non-polar solvent does not dissolve. You have to appreciate what is a polar compound. That is, it is a compound which contains charged ions, charged groups. Non-polar compound does not contain a charged group. Mostly all ionic compounds are polar compounds. Covalent compounds are non-polar compounds. This is how the nature of the solute and solvent affect the solubility. It is a factor which affects solubility. And next comes temperature, second factor. See, whenever a particular solute is dissolved in a solvent, for example, your mother is dissolving washing powder in water. You try dissolving that with your hands in a tub. Take a tub, have water in the tub, half tub water. Take a handful of washing powder, try to mix, dissolve. You will feel the increase in temperature because that dissolution is exothermic. That means dissolution of that detergent powder in water is exothermic. Sodium carbonate in water is exothermic. The same thing you do it with sugar. Take a glass of water, put sugar. The solution turns cold. That means the dissolution is endothermic. It absorbs heat. Exothermic means releases heat. So detergent powder in water, exothermic, releases heat. Sugar in water becomes cold, endothermic dissolution. So endothermic dissolution absorbs heat. So when you increase the temperature, the dissolution increases. Exothermic dissolution releases heat. It does not want increase in temperature. So when you increase the temperature, it does not dissolve. That is, the solubility will decrease. So only said endothermic dissolution, solubility increase with increase in temperature. Exothermic dissolution, solubility decrease with increase in temperature. This is a common point. There are many types of dissolutions. When you consider solid and liquid, I told you detergent powder in water for exothermic dissolution, sugar in water for endothermic dissolution. Okay, so you take a cup of hot coffee, dissolve a scoop of sugar, it quickly dissolves. Take an ice cold water, take a scoop of sugar, try to dissolve, it dissolves very late. That means the dissolution capacity decreases with decrease in temperature, increases with increase in temperature in the case of sugar. That is in the case of solid and liquid example. Another one, gas and liquid. See, it is a very, very interesting topic which need to be mentioned. when you have, you know, small water levels like ponds, okay, lakes, like that. So you take a pond, okay, when the pond is heated, for example, it is a sunny place, all the water, the oxygen that is dissolved in water in the pond may evolve. So the pond will contain water devoid of oxygen, so many aquatic animals will die due to that. In colder regions only, the aquatic animals live more, because the pond or any water level does not release water, oxygen. It contains more quantity of dissolved oxygen, which is helpful for the aquatic animals to live. Okay, so increase in temperature decreases solubility in the case of gas and liquid. So example, I told air, dissolved air present in water. So only aquatic animals live more in colder region. Okay, so gas and liquid, example, carbonated drinks, aerated drinks, soda water. Okay, when you increase the temperature, the carbon dioxide releases out. Now, effect of pressure. This is a particular factor which is applicable for gases in liquids. See, soda bottle you have seen, there will be high pressure when you, using an open air, when you open the bottle, the gas oozes out, released out. That means only due to the increase of pressure on the surface of the liquid, it is dissolved. Okay, now the pressure is released, it will come out. So increase in pressure only increases solubility of gas in liquid. When the pressure is decreased, it decreases the solubility, the gas will be evolved. For this, based on this factor, there is a law called Henry's law. Henry's law states that solubility of a gas in liquid is directly proportional to the pressure of the gas over the solution on the surface of the liquid. Over the solution means on the surface of the liquid at a definite temperature. So provided this condition is taking place in a particular fixed temperature. So solubility of a gas in a liquid is directly proportional to the pressure which is existing on the surface of the liquid at a temperature. Is called Henry's law. Okay, learn this law, it's very important. So thank you children. I hope you have understood what is solubility and what are the factors affecting solubility. I'll catch you up in the next video. Thank you.